They say money can buy almost anything, but in the early hours of the 15th of April, 1912, as the Titanic slipped beneath the freezing waters of the North Atlantic, money could not buy survival. Some of the richest and most powerful men in the world went down with the ship, their fortunes and influence powerless against physics, human miscalculation, and the arrogance of an age convinced that progress had conquered nature. They possessed wealth capable of moving markets, shaping governments, and financing empires. Yet in those desperate hours, what mattered was not gold, stocks, or estates, but space in a lifeboat. And most of them never secured one. The Titanic disaster has been told so often that it feels familiar. An iceberg, a supposedly unsinkable ship, a catastrophic loss of life. But what elevates this story beyond maritime tragedy is its financial dimension. The men who died were not simply passengers. They were custodians of immense capital, financiers of railroads, steel, banking, and global trade. Their deaths were not only personal losses, they marked the disruption of dynasties, the sudden redistribution of wealth, and subtle shifts within financial systems in Britain and America, where money and power were tightly intertwined. Let's begin with John Jacob Astor IV. At 47, Astor was among the wealthiest men alive. His fortune, built on real estate, luxury hotels, and the legacy of the Astor dynasty, was estimated at over $87 million in 1912, a figure that translates into billions today. It was wealth large enough to control industries outright. He had recently married Madeline Force, decades younger than him, sparking public controversy. The Titanic voyage was meant to be their honeymoon journey home. Astor could have attempted to claim a lifeboat. Some wealthy men did, but eyewitnesses described him helping his wife into one and then stepping back. He reportedly asked if he could accompany her because she was pregnant. The request was denied. In that moment, status dissolved. Wealth carried no authority. He was last seen calmly smoking on deck before the ocean took him. His fortune passed to his unborn child. What occurred was not only a personal tragedy, but the immediate transfer of one of America's largest estates. Then there was Benjamin Guggenheim, heir to the Guggenheim mining fortune. Known for indulgence and extravagance, he was traveling with his mistress, Leontine Aubert. When the collision first occurred, he appeared unconcerned. But as the severity of the situation became undeniable, he made a decision that would define his memory. He changed into formal evening attire and reportedly declared that he was prepared to go down like a gentleman. His companion survived. He did not. His death symbolized an old-world ideal among the elite, that dignity and reputation mattered, even in the face of death. Yet beyond the symbolism were tangible financial consequences, consolidation within the Guggenheim empire, and tighter internal control. A single night removed a prominent heir and altered the trajectory of industrial capital. Isidor Straus, co-owner of Macy's and a former congressman, was another influential figure aboard. Straus was not only wealthy, he was politically connected and widely respected. He and his wife Ida were offered seats in a lifeboat. She refused to leave him. "We have lived together for many years," she said. "Where you go, I go." They died together. The Straus fortune endured, but the symbolism resonated. One of America's leading retail magnates was undone not by competition or financial failure, but by ice in the dark. His death revealed a truth no balance sheet could conceal. Wealth provides insulation, but not immortality. The list continues. George Widener, heir to a Philadelphia transit fortune, perished alongside his son, Harry Elkins Widener. Their deaths redirected family wealth and eventually led to the construction of Harvard's Widener Library, a lasting monument funded by inheritance shaped through tragedy. Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, also died, leaving behind questions of design confidence and responsibility. Yet in terms of concentrated wealth, it was men like Astor, Guggenheim, Straus, and Widener, whose deaths reverberated most strongly through elite society. To fully understand the Titanic, it must be placed within its economic moment. In 1912, the global order appeared stable. The British Empire dominated global trade. America surged as an industrial powerhouse. The wealthy elite lived surrounded by evidence of permanence estates in Newport, townhouses in London, private rail cars crossing continents. But beneath that confidence lay fragility. Just 2 years later, World War I would fracture the old order. The Titanic sailed during the final phase of aristocratic certainty. It was not merely a ship, it was a floating testament to industrial supremacy and technological assurance. Until impact. When the iceberg tore through the hull, privilege collided with arithmetic. There were lifeboats for only about half aboard. Influence could not alter that calculation. When the Titanic sank, it carried more than passengers into the Atlantic. It triggered abrupt shifts in inheritance, capital redistribution, and legal scrutiny over vast estates. In some respects, it became an unintended wealth transfer event among the elite. Astor's fortune fragmented through trusts and legal complexities. The Guggenheim empire consolidated. The Widener legacy transformed into cultural philanthropy. Fortunes rarely vanish, they are reallocated. And this pattern extends beyond 1912. Before the Great Depression, prosperity was declared permanent. In 2008, housing markets were considered structurally sound. In 2021, digital assets were promoted as unstoppable. Each generation constructs its own version of the unsinkable. Each eventually encounters its iceberg. The Titanic demonstrated a lasting financial principle. Wealth improves odds, but it does not eliminate risk. First-class passengers had better survival rates. But probability is not certainty. The richest man aboard drowned alongside immigrants with nothing. The Titanic was one ship, one night, one iceberg, but symbolically, it represents every era that mistakes progress for invincibility. History may not repeat precisely, but it echoes. And each time we believe the system cannot fail, we move closer to proving that it can. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. This is Neto the Creator. Follow for more.